right, I think we can go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us. Welcome to our Tax Professional Features webinar. My name is Nikita, and together we're going to review the IRS e-file mandate and how Tax990 can help you as a tax professional with managing your clients and filing the annual 990 series returns. If you have questions during the presentation, please add them to the chat. Aubrey is here and she's going to assist in answering questions along the way. And we'll do a live Q&A at the end. If you're unable to see the webinar in full screen, please try clicking the square in the upper right of the webinar to enlarge the view. We do want to mention that we are not tax advisors and we won't be providing specific tax advice. We'll purely be discussing IRS e-filing requirements and the process of e-filing. For specific tax questions, please contact a CPA, a tax professional, or the IRS. This webinar will be recorded and available for review after the event, so please watch your email for a link to the recording. All right, so our agenda today, we're going to be discussing IRS e-file requirements, filing deadlines, tax professional key features, supported forms, Tax990 key features, and as I mentioned, we'll do a live Q&A towards the end. So to maintain an organization's tax-exempt status and remain compliant with the IRS, organizations are required to file a 990 series return on an annual basis. If an organization fails to file a return for 3 consecutive years, it will risk losing its exempt status. And additionally, penalties may accrue with each year that they do not file the 990 series return. The IRS mandated e-filing for 990 series returns on July 1st of 2019. So organizations filing a return with a tax year beginning date after July 1st of 2019 were required to e-file the returns moving forward. E-filing reduces the number of filing errors and helps ensure the IRS guidelines are met, meaning calculations are more accurate and the information provided matches the information in the IRS database. It makes filing and IRS processing more efficient and provides a quicker turnaround time on updated form status. 990 series returns. The deadlines are based on the organization's tax year. An annual 990 series return must be filed by the 15th day of the 5th month following the end of the organization's tax year. If the 15th of the month falls on a weekend or federal holiday, the deadline is moved to the next business day. Most organizations have either a calendar tax year that runs from January 1st through December 31st, or a fiscal tax year that runs from July 1st through June 30th. However, a fiscal tax year can be any 12-month time frame other than January 1st through December 31st. If time's limited, an organization can file an 8868 form to apply for a 6-month deadline extension. As a tax preparer, you may have clients all year round that need to file a 990 series return. Tax990 is a market-leading IRS authorized e-file provider with over a decade of experience in e-filing tax forms. When you file with Tax990, we provide you with excellent customer support, competitive pricing, and options to file for previous tax years. Since the IRS has mandated e-filing, Tax990 is your solution for electronically filing your return for your clients. When you create a tax professional account with Tax990, you do not need to be an ERO. You will only need an EIN and a PTIN. When you register for a new account, you'll be able to indicate that you would like to create a tax professional account. As a tax professional, you'll be able to manage all the organizations you work with within the same Tax990 account. We're going to watch a brief video on the process of creating a Tax990 tax professional account and adding your organization. If you can't hear the video, please let us know in the chat so we can make sure it's working appropriately. With Tax990, we offer several features specific to features that can assist a tax preparer in filing for multiple clients. So if you are a tax preparer and you need to file a 990 series return for your clients, you would go to tax990.com and sign up for an account. When you sign up for an account, you're going to indicate on the box that you are a tax preparer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and indicate here that I am a tax professional or paid preparer and create my account. Tax990 takes your security very seriously, so when you create your account, you're going to be asked to enter a security code that is sent to your email that you've used to create the account. So once you've verified your account, you can go ahead and get started. We do have a two-factor authentication option available if you want to do that as well, but it is not mandatory. As a paid preparer, you'll be able to indicate your preparer details, such as whether or not you're self-employed, your firm name, and your PTIN. Once you've entered all of your information, including your PTIN, your EIN, and your address, you can go ahead and save those details. Now, with a paid preparer account, you have the option to purchase credits. What does that mean? Credits allow you to basically buy your forms in bulk at a cheaper rate, and they can be used for any of the organizations in your account. Credits do not expire, so they can be used year after year until you run out. Right now, we're going to go ahead and skip that, but later I'll show you how to purchase those credits and how to use those. From here, we're going to go ahead and start by adding one of our organizations. You're going to add the EIN first and click Next. Now, if for some reason the EIN is not found, you can go ahead and continue. The only thing that finding the EIN is going to do is already manually input all of the information for you. If we can't find your EIN by pulling it from the IRS database, that's okay. That's not a red flag. You can just go ahead, hit continue, and you can personally enter your organization information. So you're going to add the organization's EIN, the name of the organization, all of the necessary information. Oops, I messed that one up. And you're going to go ahead and proceed. Now you can either begin filing a return from this point, or you can go into your account, add more organizations, add by credits, add staff, or do other functions. As I had mentioned, with Tax990, you do have the option to complete a return for a prior year. A lot of tax preparers are getting phone calls from organizations right now because the organization has received a letter from the IRS stating that they didn't file for a certain year because that organization may be paper filed and the IRS doesn't accept that anymore. So many organizations are looking for paid preparers that will file for previous tax years. With Tax990, you can file for the current and 2 prior years. So we offer 2022, 21, and 2020 right now. So you would make your selection on what form you need to file and then choose the form to file from there. Right now, we're going to go ahead and skip this because I'd like to show you further into the account. So once you've added your organization and you go into the home page of the account, you'll see the organizations in your account all listed here. As you add more organizations, obviously you'll see more in this screen here listed downwards. If you need to reference a specific organization, you can choose the select organization option and view all of your organizations from there. if you get to this point and you need to add another organization, you can just do that from this button here. So I've went ahead and just added another organization. We'll click next. Again, you're gonna be able to either start the form from here or go back to your home page of your account. And then you'll see now we have 2 organizations in this account, and you can use either the arrow to pull up the organization in reference and view everything that's been done in that organization, or you can click up here to select organization and find the organization you're working on. Okay, so we're going to move on. Filing as a tax professional with Tax990, we understand that as a firm filing for several clients, one person is not always responsible for completing the 990 series return. So with Tax990, you can add staff to your main account to assist in the filing process. We're going to watch another short video just on the process of adding staff to your account. Tax990, we do understand that it is a lengthy process to fill out these 990 series forms. Some of them can be, upwards of 40 pages long with schedules, and it could take multiple people to accomplish these forms for so many different organizations. So at Tax990, we allow you the ability to add staff members to your account. As a paid preparer, you are the main account holder. You can add additional staff members to your account and provide them access to specific organizations and give them specific responsibilities to assist you in that e-file process. So I just want to quickly show you how that works. So I've logged into my account here, and if I go to the My Account tab at the upper right, I can click on Manage Additional Users. So currently I have one additional user attached to my account that is able to work on the Dunder Mifflin basketball camp organization in my account. To add another staff member, I can click Add Additional Users, add their information, and then determine what type of access I want that staff member to have. You can give them preparer access, which means they can complete a form, but they cannot pay for it and they cannot transmit it. Or you can give prepare and transmit access, which means they can do all of the features that you as the main account holder can do. They can complete a form, they can pay for a form, and they can transmit a form. And then you're going to choose which organizations that staff member should have access to. And then click Add Additional Users. Now this staff member is going to get an email to the email address provided, giving them access to that account. Your staff member will receive an email similar to this where they can click to manage the organization. So here it indicates which organizations they'll have access to. And when they click to manage the organization, they'll be brought to a sign-in screen. Now I already have an account created as an additional user, but if it's a new person that's never had an account with Tax990 before, when they click that button to manage those organizations, they'll be asked to create a password. So in the future, when they go to access those forms, they'll just go to tax990.com, click sign in, and enter their email address and the password they created to proceed with accessing those forms. So from here, if you click select an organization, you can see the organizations that have been shared with this staff member. So if they work for multiple CPA firms or they have their own organizations, whatever the case may be, it all can be managed from the same account. So they would go down here to these shared organizations that the main account holder provided them with, and they would be able to view what's already been completed for that organization or start a new form for that organization. Now with Tax990, we support the current and 2 prior years. Right now we have 2022, 2021, and 2020 available. So if you have clients that call you and say, well, the IRS just rejected my paper filing return for 2021, now I have to e-file it, you can still provide them that option using our Tax990 program and choosing a prior tax year. So you would just click on the tax year you need to file and click Start Now, and that additional staff member would be able to begin a return for that client. Now, while your staff member completes the form, you do still have access to that in your main tax preparer account. So again, this is going to be your employee's account that you've provided access to. They started a Form 990 in for 2021. It is in progress. Now, if we go back to the main tax preparer's account, you'll see that it's been updated in that account as well. So you can review everything that your client or your employees are doing for your clients as it's happening. So as you can see here, back to the main tax preparer account with all of the organizations, if we click on the same one that your client or your staff member had access to, it'll view here as a 2021 990 in progress, started on 7/20/23. Tax professional accounts have the added benefit of purchasing credits. If you expect to file a large amount of 990 series returns during the year, you can pre-purchase the forms in bulk at a reduced per form cost. And this will allow you to just add a credit in the form of payment during the checkout process and skip that process of entering your credit card information with each transaction. The credits don't expire, so if you don't end up using all of the purchased credits this year, they'll remain in your account for future use. Tax990 also offers the option to file amendments and prior year returns. So Tax990 offers e-filing for the current and 2 prior years as mentioned, as well as the option to file an amended return on an originally accepted form for the current and 2 prior years. As a tax preparer, you're required to obtain a signature from your client that will be sent with the return to the IRS. This confirms that the client has given you permission to complete the return on their behalf. Tax990 has streamlined this process for obtaining your client's signature for the 8453 TE form. And we'll take a quick look at the process of obtaining the e-signature for that 8453 TE form. This will be the last video that we'll have, and then it'll just be the remaining presentation from there. When you're completing a return on behalf of an organization as a paid preparer, you have to complete what's called the 8453 TE signature form authorizing that you can file on behalf of that organization. Through Tax990 with the paid preparer account, I'm just going to quickly show you how that process works. So once we've logged into our account here, we have our 990 EZ already started. I'm going to go ahead and continue with that one. Once you complete the entire return and process your payment for the form, you'll be able to obtain that signature, but it can't be done prior to completing and paying for the form. So we've already completed the return. I'm just going through these next couple of pages. Process our payment, which we've done. Before moving on to the signature section, we have the opportunity to share the return either electronically or manually. If you share electronically, you could share this with members of the organization you're filing on behalf of, or you could share it with other people within your CPA firm. Electronically means that you input an email address and the person you're sharing with gets an email to review the form. They can make comments or they can provide their approval, but they can't actually change anything on the form. It's just viewing what you've completed. Sharing manually allows you to print a copy of the form and just physically share it with another individual. Just for today's purposes, we're going to go ahead and share manually because we don't need to share it all. So we'll just make that selection and proceed. So once you get to the signature form 8453 TE portion, you'll have the option to either e-sign or manually sign. Manually signing means you print a copy, you sign it with a pen, the organization member also signs it, and then you upload it to your computer and to your account. If you need to, like you can see here, you can also email it to your client or fax it, whatever you need. If you prefer, you can e-sign it electronically by sending the signature request to your client. I'm going to go ahead and do that here. You would input the email address you're sending the signature form to. The subject, this is already generated for you, so you don't really have to do anything other than add the email address you're sending to, and then you're going to go ahead and send the email. Now we just wait for the organization member to sign and return it. Your client, who you're sending the signature form to, will get an email that looks similar to this, and they'll be able to click e-sign now. Your client will have to verify the EIN of the organization when they click to sign now on that email, just to confirm that the correct person is getting the signature form. Once they verify the EIN, they'll be able to review the 8453-TE form, and then they're just going to click to e-sign. They can type their name in, and it'll appear below, or they can draw it in, whichever is preferred, and click approve. And their signature will appear here on the form. And then the client is going to submit the 8453-TE. They'll be notified that it was successfully signed. Once your client successfully signs the form, your Tax990 account will indicate that information. You will receive an email stating that the client signed. Then when you go back into your account to the 8453 signature form section, it'll say taxpayer notified, e-signed by taxpayer. Now it's your responsibility to sign, so you would click to sign, enter your name, approve, and then your form is completed and it's been uploaded. You can view a copy of it if necessary and see that both your client and yourself have signed the form, and then you can proceed to transmitting from there. Okay, so in addition to the tax preparer specific features that we just talked about, Tax990 offers several other advanced technology features to assist you in your filing process. Tax990 performs an internal audit after you've completed the return, and this verifies that the requirements from the IRS Form instructions have been met. The audit helps verify that your calculations are accurate and the necessary schedules are generated. The form will generate auto calculations, which helps remove the guesswork from filing by calculating several areas of the return. For example, when you input all your different categories of revenue, the total revenue will be calculated accordingly. It's also important for an organization to know if the return was accepted. So once the IRS provides a status update, you'll receive an email with an acceptance notice. You can email that acceptance notice to your client if necessary. The acceptance letter will remain in the account, and you can access and download a copy for your client at any time to provide confirmation to your client that the return was successfully filed and accepted by the IRS. In the case that the return is rejected by the IRS, Tax990 provides the reason for IRS rejection and allows you to resolve and retransmit the return at no additional cost. For example, if the IRS rejected the return because the tax year provided does not match what the IRS has in the database, you'll be able to edit the information on the return and retransmit it. An organization highly depends on an accepted return. If a return is rejected and there's no notice of the rejection, the organization can risk penalty or losing their tax-exempt status. So providing the rejection information and the ability to retransmit a return will help the organization remain compliant. We also understand that in most cases, it is preferred to review a draft copy of the return prior to filing or while working through the process. So you'll have access to a draft PDF while you're working on the return. When you finalize and transmit your return, you'll have access to a professional copy for your records or your client's records. The professional copy will remain in your account so you can print and download it at any time. This is beneficial for an organization that may need a record of their return later for grants and fundraising. You'll be able to print the copy and provide that to them whenever necessary. Filing a 990 return can be a lengthy process, so when you file your return with Tax990, you can come and go as you please, and the information you enter is saved automatically. Since it's a cloud-based program, you can access your account from anywhere at any time to pick up where you left off. Organization information saves in the account, so when it comes time to file each year, you can select what organization you're filing for, and the name, EIN, address, and principal officer information will auto-generate. When filing from year to year, a lot of the information remains the same, so we provide the ability to transfer information directly from a prior year return. So when filing consecutive years, the organization information, public charity status, books are in the care of details, Schedule B contributor names and addresses, list of officers, and prior year revenue and expenses can all be transferred to the current year return. But this is an optional feature and information can be changed once the transfer is made, which leaves it pretty customizable. We also understand that it's not always easy to know what additional information is required on a return. When you complete a return with Tax990, we help determine what schedules are required based on the information that's provided on the form. The schedules required will automatically generate for you to complete. And additionally, only the necessary parts of the schedule will appear, so you're not completing information that's not required. For example, if you make the selection on the 990 form that the organization you're filing on behalf of is a 501c3, page 1 of Schedule A will generate automatically. Once you choose the reason for the public charity status on page 1 of Schedule A, the necessary additional parts of Schedule A will be enabled. We provide bulk upload options, so using our provided templates, you can enter the necessary details for all of the contributors and upload them to your form. Once you complete a return, you can share it with members of the organization for approval, as mentioned. The return can be shared electronically, meaning you send the organization member an email to access the document online, and they can review it, comment, and approve it. Or you can share manually, meaning that you would print a copy and share it with the organization members. And as mentioned earlier, we do provide those auto calculations, which helps remove that guesswork from filing by calculating several areas of the return for you. Tax990 offers the entire suite of 990 series returns, so if an organization's financial status changes from year to year, you won't have to find an alternate provider that offers a larger or smaller return. So the 990N can be filed by organizations with gross receipts less than or equal to $50,000. The 990EZ can be filed if an organization's gross receipts were less than $200,000 and total assets are less than $500,000. The 990 form can be filed if the organization has gross receipts greater than $200,000 or assets greater than $500,000. The 990PF is used to calculate tax based on investment income and has to be filed if the organization is considered a private foundation. This one gets a little sticky because no matter what, if the organization's determination letter indicates it's a private foundation, it has to file the 990PF regardless of financial status. The 990T is for exempt organization business income tax return, and it can be filed in addition to a 990 series form. And the 8868, as mentioned, is the application for automatic 6-month extension of time to file and can only be filed once per tax year. So If the deadline for your client to file is May and you file an extension, that would mean the new deadline is November. So in November, you would have to proceed with filing the 990 series return. You could not file another extension form. The reason it's important to note that Tax990 offers all of these forms is, as mentioned, an organization can change forms based on the financial status. When COVID hit in 2020, a lot of organizations reduced down to filing a 990 EZ or 990 IN form because activity wasn't happening during that time. And since then, their organization has picked back up in activity and has gone back to filing the larger forms. So they can track all of that in the same Tax990 account when those changes happen from year to year. Additionally, we support several of the accompanying forms, such as the 1120 POL, which is a U.S. income tax return for certain political organizations, the California 199 for California exempt organizations, and the 8038 CP, which is a return for credit payments to issuers of qualified bonds. As mentioned, we also offer the option to file amendments and all necessary schedules. So Tax990 is the product of a parent company of Span Enterprises. Span Enterprises offers solutions for business forms, ACA reporting, and transportation. So if your organization also pays contract or pays employees, you can use Tax Bandits to file 1099s, W-2s, 941s. We also have the ACA for the Affordable Care Act reporting and the trucking industry. Filing with Tax990 can be a very quick process. As mentioned, you add your organization, complete the necessary return, review the internal audit that's provided, share the return, and then transmit it to the IRS. We get a lot of questions on how long does this process take. Really, it's based on the information that you have readily prepared and the opportunity you have for inputting the information. Typically, a lot of our clients can get the form done in just maybe an hour or 2 hours based on their commitment to completing it at the time. Okay, we'll go ahead and do a live Q&A. If you want to put your questions here in the chat, we can take a couple minutes to go over some questions live. If we don't have any questions now, that's fine. You can feel free to email me at any time. I'd be happy to answer those questions for you at any time. Okay. We do have a question about how long it takes the IRS to provide a status update. Typically, the IRS has a turnaround time of around 2 days to provide a status update. Sometimes we see it happen much quicker. Sometimes it'll happen the same day that you transmit the form. Around busier seasons like May and November, it can take usually between 2 and 4 days because they're getting such a large amount of forms coming in. You'll get an email notification regardless when the IRS provides that status update. So there really haven't been any questions coming in, so I'll go ahead and proceed. Like I said, if you do end up having questions, please feel free to send us an email. We'd be happy to assist you with those, or you can give us a call. We do have our support team available via phone, email, and chat Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. During peak times like the May 15th deadline and the November 15th deadline, we do have extended support hours. We have a significant amount of educational information on our YouTube and our blog channel. We also have a very extensive knowledge base at tax990.com. So if you're unable to get a hold of our support team or it's after hours, check out our different tools for accessing that educational information. We do have several other webinars coming up over the next several weeks, and we'll send an email out shortly with that information. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to be discussing specific forms such as the 990T, the 990PF, the 990N, and then some basic commonly asked questions or commonly searched questions that our support team receives. But as mentioned, we will send those emails out over the next couple days so you can register for those webinars. Just really quickly, Howard is wondering how long it takes for the IRS to give you a tax ID number. Typically, once you apply for tax exempt status, it can take up to 6 months for the IRS to get back to you with your exempt status approval. If you have questions about that, you can give the IRS a call and they can usually provide you with an update on the status of that. All right, well, thank you again for attending. I'm going to go ahead and close this up now. Please reach out to us at support@tax990.com if you have any questions, and keep an eye out for those next couple webinar series coming up over the next several weeks.